I've heard about you.
What have you heard, Shane?
I've heard that you're...
Interesting facts about famous people.
Who was the best protagonist in Western movies? I have made videos on villains and best actors, but today I'm talking about the good guys, the protagonists. No Western would work if there wasn't a hero. Otherwise, why would you need the bad guy? I will start with these 10. Clearly today's video doesn't mention all of them. If you like this video, I will follow up with more as usual. If you enjoyed this video, take a look at my channel for more. The link is in the description. Let me know your thoughts in the comments. The well-worn Western genre is filled with compelling protagonists and anti-heroes. The Western is one of the oldest genres in the Hollywood tradition. The first few decades of Westerns were defined by the clear-cut view of heroes and villains, white and black hats. When these tropes became well-worn, filmmakers like Sergio Leone and Sergio Corbucci shook it up with their spaghetti westerns. After that, American directors like Robert Altman and Sam Peckinpah helmed gritty and violent, revisionist anti-westerns that deconstructed the genre's whitewashed conventions. Along the way, the genre has been marked by convincing protagonists, whether classical heroes or revisionist anti-heroes. Western movies are often driven by compelling lead characters. Franco Nero as Django in Django 1966. After Sergio Leone introduced a westernized remake, Yojimbo, in A Fistful of Dollars, Sergio Corbucci solidified likewise with another westernized remake of Yojimbo, Django. This version rounds out its anti-hero more. Franco Nero plays a gunslinger who mysteriously drags around a coffin and turns out to be motivated by avenging the love of his life. Warren Beatty as John McCabe in McCabe and Mrs. Miller, 1971. Robert Altman's McCabe and Mrs. Miller is one of the earliest anti-westerns, telling the story of a charismatic grifter and a cunning sex worker who team up to establish a brothel in a town that's so early in its development. There's only one solid building. Everything else is in tents in the wet mud. Warren Beatty's John McCabe initially presents himself as a notorious killer, but he reveals himself to be a coward who's never killed anyone before, when a team of bounty hunters arrive and McCabe sneaks around town, trying to shoot them all in the back. Charles Bronson as Harmonica in Once Upon a Time in the West, 1968. Sergio Leone's most iconic spaghetti western anti-hero, the man with no name, played by Clint Eastwood in the Dollars trilogy, but Harmonica, played by Charles Bronson in Once Upon a Time in the West, is a close second. Harmonica is characterized through his chilling gimmick of playing harmonica before shooting his targets dead. The finale reveals that this harmonica was stuffed in the mouth by Henry Fonda's sinister black-clad villain, Frank, while he tortured Harmonica's older brother. Harmonica's climatic retribution is suitably glorious. Cleavon Little as Sheriff Bart in Blazing Saddles, 1974. Mel Brooks' Blazing Saddles is a satirical take of the Western genre, also a tale of good triumphing over evil. Cleavon Little stars as Bart, a black sheriff who's appointed to protect Rock Ridge as an act of sabotage by the corrupt local governor. Sheriff Bart proves to be so competent and dedicated to his position that he not only unifies the town of Rock Ridge, he also takes down the corrupt politicians who appointed him in the first place. Clint Eastwood as William Money in Unforgiven, 1992. Clint Eastwood's final western could have been the final western ever made, because it's a perfect bittersweet swan song for the genre and its complicated mythos. Clint Eastwood is a sharp inversion of the gunslinger archetype. Unforgiven depicts a grizzled, aging ex-gunfighter whose peaceful life as a pig farmer is disrupted when he's called back into action to defend the honor of a sex worker. John Wayne as Ethan Edwards in The Searchers, 1956. John Ford directed a bunch of seminal Western masterpieces, but arguably his most impactful entry in the genre is The Searchers. John Wayne gives one of the most nuanced performances as a Civil War veteran who embarks on a years-long search to find his kidnapped niece, only to find that she doesn't want to be saved. Humphrey Bogart as Fred C. Dobbs in The Treasure of the Sierra Madre, 1948. John Huston's definitive cinematic portrait of the corrupting power of wealth, framed through the downfall of Humphrey Bogart's anti-hero, Fred C. Dobbs. Dobbs discovers a fortune in gold with his two partners and instantly becomes paranoid that they're going to steal his share. Ironically, Dobbs' paranoia makes him the one that the others need to keep an eye on.
Is that Pat McCormick, or am I seeing things?
Robert Redford and Paul Newman as Butch and Sundance in Butch Cassidy and the Sundance Kid, 1969. William Goldman struggled to find a Hollywood studio that would produce his script for Butch Cassidy and the Sundance Kid because its titular duo, inspired by real-life historical figures, were the opposite of every traditional Western hero. Alan Ladd as Shane in Shane, 1953. Shane is one of George Stevens' quintessential Western movies because it deconstructs and humanizes a familiar genre archetype. Alan Ladd gives an iconic performance as the title character, an ex-gunslinger who gets a job on a ranch and connects with a family whose land is being threatened. Throughout the movie, Shane learns that it's impossible to outrun the violent past. He once again takes up arms to protect the ranchers. In the final scene, he sums up these themes in a powerful monologue to his young companion, Joey. Clint Eastwood as the man with no name in The Dollars Trilogy. Sergio Leone masterfully crafted a triple whammy with a fistful of dollars for a few dollars more, and the good, the bad, and the ugly. Defined the revisionist, blood-soaked vision of the spaghetti western subgenre. The movies aren't linked by any storyline. They're linked by the standalone adventures of Clint Eastwood's ice-cold bounty hunter, the man with no name. Eastwood brought an authentic gruffness to the nameless gunslinger that perfectly encapsulates the gritty feel of the genre. Welcome to any new viewers on my channel. Thanks for your time today. I hope you enjoyed this video. I appreciate your likes and subscribers. Don't forget to hit the notification button to get my new videos. Share with your friends. Drop me your comments. Bye for now. See you again soon.
Interesting facts about famous people.